Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Twem, and today we are going to talk with Erin Cummings, a professional and talented actress. She doesn't even need introduction. You probably know her from various TV series. Yes, there she is. Let me send a request. I don't know why, for some reason, you are not in the list for going live. Maybe you can send me a request and I accept. That would be easier. Hey Erin, would you please send me a request because I don't know why. Ah, yes, there you are. Yes, I accepted the request. So, hey Erin,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. What about you?
Yeah, it's been a busy Friday. I was actually putting my husband on tape for an audition. My husband is an actor as well, and this helicopter kept circling, circling, circling. We were like, "What is going on?" And he has an app on his phone where he can find out, it's like the crime app or whatever. And he said, "Oh, somebody in this street, literally right behind our street, um, shot and killed someone, like her boyfriend, and now she's threatening to turn the gun on herself." And so the helicopter was going around and around and around and around. And then so we went up to our roof. On We have a patio on our roof, and we went up there and saw like SWAT teams and all these people. It was kind of crazy. So it's been an eventful day so far, and I hope that everyone's okay. And but wow, woo, it's been a
Yeah,
lot. Now,
it
where
was
are
such a
you?
day then. Now I'm in Cyprus.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah, wonderful.
yeah, how's the weather in LA now, by the way?
It's very hot. It is very, very hot.
I bet not as hot as here in Cyprus.
Probably not. No,
Yeah.
for sure. It's oh gosh, what is it in Celsius? It's like almost 100 in Fahrenheit. I don't know what the conversion is to
I
Celsius,
also
but
don't know how to convert that. Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. But we try to, walk the dog in the morning, and then in the evening after the sun goes down, because gosh, during the middle of the day she just gets so hot. But yeah, so it's lovely to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm very thrilled that we are having this talk. And Erin, you've been in many TV series. I'm wondering which role is exactly your favorite.
It's I think that it's a small part. I just did one episode, but there was a TV show many years ago called Cold Case, and it was like an investigation show where the police department, or the detectives, yeah, the detectives, they have these cases that were never able to be solved, and they've just sort of they go cold, which is why they call it a cold case, and they just get filed away and sort of forgotten about. So these are cold case detectives who that's actually a job where their entire job is to try to solve these crimes that couldn't get solved. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there was a serial killer who had the nickname the Golden State Killer. Obviously, he's California. He was a serial killer in California, and this was in, gosh, I want to say the 70s or the 80s that
So it was
he had.
based on a true story.
Oh yeah, this is a real guy, the Golden State Killer. And I want to say it was in the 70s or the 80s that he was murdering all these women, and they never found him. And he got arrested like last year. They
Wow.
they ended up finding him and solving the case. So anyway, it's a show called Cold Case, and I played a famous pinup model who gets murdered, and they never found out who the murderer was. And what's great about the show is that they go back in time and they recreate of all the things that led up to the murder. And so it's almost like filming a mini movie inside of a television show. And it was one of my first big TV jobs that like I didn't just go in for like a couple of hours and then go home, but like I would go first thing in the morning, work all day, go home, sleep, get up the next morning, go work all day, you know, and that feeling of being like, oh wow, this is a job, this is a regular, like I get up, I go to work, I do what I love to do, I go home, and then I get up and I get to do the whole thing all over again. That was what really made me fall in love with not just acting, but acting in television. And then just be able to see it on the television screen and watch it with all my friends and my family just 6 weeks later. That was amazing. You know, it was something that, you know, it wasn't like sometimes you do a film and then a year later, maybe it comes out, but maybe it doesn't. And then people are saying, well, where can I watch it? Can I watch it in the movie theaters? Well, I don't know if it'll, you know, get into movie theaters, or it'll get into movie theaters, but not everywhere, only in New York or LA, or oh, it was in theaters, but it's already gone, or you know, whatever. Um, and so this was really cool. And I just, I got to dress up in like really beautiful clothes, and I got to sing and dance, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So I would say if you can find it, the pinup girl episode of a TV show called Cold Case that was on CBS, that would be my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now I'm very interested to watch it for sure.
it's fun.
And personally, I first time I saw you was in Spartacus,
Hmm.
and I was very interested in this TV series. And what do you think about
Yeah.
Sarah's character? Because you know she was responsible for death of many Romans.
Very true. You know, I loved the character. I still love the character, and I have to give so much credit to Stephen Estonite, who was our head writer. We call him showrunner, because he cleverly crafted this television show that was all about the men in power. But if you really pay attention, every powerful man on the show had a partner who was helping guide his decisions. Sometimes that partner was a woman, sometimes that partner was another man. And, you know, we featured interracial relationships and homosexual relationships and relationships where the women really were so powerful and had such a strong influence over the decisions that their husbands made. And, you know, and also, in addition to Stephen's writing, Andy Whitfield was such an incredible gift to the world. And I was really fortunate to be able to create that character with him. I think that Sura would have been different if it were anyone else besides Andy. Not worse, not better, just it would have been a different experience if someone else had been playing Spartacus.
Yeah, Steven totally did a great job,
Yes.
and the drama of the series was really something.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked by it because this genre was not my favorite, but when I
Right.
started watching it, I couldn't stop watching after the first episode. So,
Well, I'm glad that you say after the first, because I actually I would tell people, you know, give it like the first 4 episodes. I feel like because we didn't have a chance to shoot a pilot first, we just sort of went right into the series. We didn't shoot a pilot. And so we were still kind of figuring things out. We were working out some of the kinks in the first couple episodes. By the time the show gets to episode 4, we really just start flying. And yeah, I'm quite proud of it.
yeah, but even from the first episode, I was very excited about it because
Good.
I understood that the way they are describing each episode, it has some burden on it, and it shows a story even from the beginning. And
Yeah.
step by step in each episode, they had a story of their own. And I
Hmm.
didn't see it in other TV series. So that's why it was very interesting for me.
Yeah, well, good. I'm so glad that you liked it. And you know, I consider myself really fortunate because, I mean, one of my closest friendships came out of that. Leslie Ann Brandt, who played Navia in the first season and the prequel, she and I are still really good friends. Our husbands are friends. We go
And
visit
by the
them.
way, what
I'm
was the reason that she was not in the next season?
not really sure. I don't remember. That was That was like 10 years ago, and I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because many fans were disappointed, although
Yeah.
the new actor was good. But anyway, they were disappointed because they wanted to
Yes, of
see
course.
Navia.
It happens, but Cynthia Ade Nixon, who took over the role of Navia, did a beautiful job from what I've heard. And Leslie Ann obviously went on to now she's starring on Lucifer on Netflix. So sounds like everybody worked out exactly the way it was supposed to for everyone.
Yeah, and you
And
appeared
speaking of
also.
Lucifer, I just did an episode of Lucifer. So
Yeah, yeah.
the most recent season just dropped on Friday, a week ago. And so for anybody out there who is a Lucifer fan,
Yeah,
you can
these
see
days
me.
there are lots of fans of Lucifer.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
It's been really fun getting to interact with a whole new group of people who are fans of the show. Um, so I'm in episode 2 of Lucifer. We thought it was gonna be the last season. So the thankfully the casting director, Rebecca Mangieri Reed, had cast me before and knew my work. So when Leslie Ann messaged her and said, "We got to get Erin Cummings on the show. It's the last season," she said, "Oh my gosh, I agree. Let's do it." So they were
it
looking
was
out
a
for
good
me.
decision. Now
Yeah.
I'm motivated to continue because I watched the first episode, but I didn't continue. But now I have the
Well, you
motivation.
gotta keep watching. You gotta keep
Yeah,
watching.
yeah, for sure I will do that. And you
Hmm.
also appeared in Feed the Beast, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
that was very interesting too. And you have an interesting role there. How
Um,
was the experience with playing with David and Jim?
you know what? I didn't unfortunately have any scenes with David Schwimmer, but I obviously
Oh,
saw
that's right.
him. Yeah, like there was one scene where I was walking out as he was walking in, but we didn't have any,
Yeah, I
interaction.
didn't
We
notice it. That's right.
never
Yeah.
did anything together. But I saw him obviously at every table read, and our rooms were right next door to each other, so we would pass in the hall um, from time to time between scenes. And he was really, really wonderful. What I saw in him was just this ease, this beautiful professionalism that was so easy. And it came out one day. I saw it. I was in the makeup chair, and David was in the makeup chair next to me, and or no, he hadn't started makeup. He was about to arrive, and the makeup artists were freaking out because they said, or they weren't freaking out, but they were telling me, "Oh, well, they called him in today and he didn't think that he had to work, so he had scheduled himself off. He was actually away on vacation with his family, and he was supposed to come back tonight. They told him that he had to come back early because he was working, so he came back early, and he's on his way in right now, but they just realized that he's actually not on the schedule, and he's going to be so mad. I mean, anybody would be
Yeah,
upset."
sure. Yeah.
And so he sat down, and he was about to start getting his makeup done, and then the AD came in and said, "Mr. Schwimmer, I'm so sorry. I have to tell you this." And she told him, and I was just quietly sitting there like, "Oh my God, what is he going to do?" Because I've seen actors have fits on stage. I've seen crew members scream and have temper tantrums. I have seen really, really bad behavior. So I was kind of prepared for anything. I was like, I'm just going to sit here and eat my popcorn. I don't know what's about to go on. And he just went, "Okay, all right. Well, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that.
Wow.
Everybody, y'all have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow." And he just walked out.
Wow.
Now,
So
I have
professional.
no
Yeah.
doubt that he went to the producer and laid into the producer and let the producer know that is never going to happen again. But I thought that was such a beautiful example of restraint and professionalism, that like it's not that that girl who's barely making minimum wage, it's not her fault. She didn't plan on destroying his holiday with his family.
Yeah.
And so yelling and screaming and, causing a scene that everyone's going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks, or the person down at the end of the makeup trailer who is only working on the show for that one day, who's like, oh my God, there's David Schwimmer from Friends. You know, they don't know the whole backstory. All they know is that David Schwimmer is screaming and yelling and having a temper tantrum. So it's like, I thought that was really great of him, as a beautiful example of leadership, um, to show how, you know, when you get news that's disappointing or frustrating, you go, okay, thank you for letting me know. And then you go address it with the people that, you know, may be at fault. So I thought that was really great. And as far as Jim Sturgis, we had so much fun together. You know, he's just a wonderful uh, person with a really fun sense of humor, very professional. He takes his job seriously and was always prepared. We just had a really good time together. But one of my favorite things about doing Feed the Beast was that I was actually living in Los Angeles at the time, and my fiance was living, my now husband, but he was my fiance at the time. He was living in New York. And so Ross Meyerson, who had cast him on the show he was doing, which was called Limitless on CBS, was based on the
Yeah, the film.
based on the Bradley Cooper film. He was working there, and then I flew out to New York to do an episode of Blue Bloods. And while I was there, one of Ross Meyerson, the casting director, one of his assistants said, "Did you know that Erin Cummings and Tom Degnan are engaged?" And he said, "Wait, what? What? I didn't know that. Well, where is she? He's here in New York doing Limitless." She said, "Yeah, I think she's in LA, but she's in New York right now. She's shooting an episode of Blue Bloods." And he goes, "Get her in here. We have this show called Feed the Beast. It's a role that she's perfect for. Let's audition her." And I went in, and within like probably 3 hours, I was offered the part. And so I
Wow.
got to
I'm glad they
relocate
did
to New
it. Yeah.
York. Yeah, I got to relocate to New York. And so Tom and I got to be together for the 6 months leading up to our wedding, which was really, that's really a unique thing. You know, anytime that as an actor, you can have a job, you are living blessed. You are blessed, honey. But when you are two actors who are, you know, both working jobs, that is amazing. That's mind blowing. But then to have two actors who are both working, who are also both in the same city, it's unheard of. So we were definitely very blessed and happy to have that time together.
Yeah. So there were for sure very good times, but I know after 1 month after marriage, you were diagnosed by cancer.
Yeah,
And
breast cancer.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I wanted to ask because I know about the negative things about cancer, and you also describe it in your page, which I really appreciated because you were very open about it. You were sharing about this experience with your fans, and we were also learning from you during that time.
Mm.
And but I want to focus on the positive part. Do you think was it any positive influence after that?
Um, I have a very specific opinion about this. I I remember my friend Matt Sales, who is my friend Rob is watching. Hi Rob, I love you. I miss you. Um, my friend Matt Sales said, and he if you see any of the black and white photos of me when I was going through treatment, Matt was the one who took those pictures, and he said, "I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but that doesn't mean that you can't find a reason in everything that happens." And what that means is, you know, when someone is going through trauma, there's always someone that has very good intentions, that means well, that'll say, "Well, you know, everything happens for a reason." And that's such a, it's, when people say that, it's not helpful. It's not helpful to say everything happens for a reason, because in that moment, people are just experiencing their trauma. Now, after that trauma and after that person goes through the process of healing, yeah, there have been some silver linings, you know, that I've seen. Um, I think that I'm a much more empathetic person than I was before. I think that I don't take certain things so seriously. In that, like, there are things that I take really serious that are important things, but a lot, some of the small stuff I don't sweat as much as I used to. My husband says I've become a lot more patient. I
Mm.
still think I have a lot more to go. That's not saying that I want to have cancer again, whoever's listening, but I definitely, and I think that there's two ways that you can go through life. You can either go through life as someone who experiences tragedy, because we all do. There's not one of us will get out of this world without having some
Yeah, many
really
people
bad
think
shit
that
go
this
down.
is for others, not for us.
No, we all experience some tragedy in our life. And we have the option of, after we go through that tragedy, of holding on to it and staying angry and finding other people to blame for that tragedy. And, there's that. And we all know those people, and we wish that they could we want to say just let it go, but it's not about letting go. It's about healing. You have to do the work to heal. I mean, I've been in therapy for 4 years now. I was never in therapy before. I was always the kind of person that used to say, if you have good girlfriends, you don't need therapy. And that was not true, because I've learned a lot of tools to help me heal. It's not about letting go. It's about healing through. So there's people that are just like holding on to that anger and that pain and that trauma, and they relive it over and over and over again. So they're in this vicious cycle. And then there's people that go, okay, you know what? I'm not happy it happened. I wish it hadn't happened. I wouldn't want anyone that I love to have this happen to them. But because it did happen, I'm going to see what I can learn from this. And for me, like I said, I feel like I learned a deeper sense of empathy, a greater degree of patience, an ability to sort of let go of some of the little minor things. Somebody cuts me off in traffic. I'm like, hey, you're obviously in a bigger rush than I am. I've had things get broken, and I go, you know what? That thing broke, but guess what? I enjoyed it before it broke. And it's not, it's not something that is, just because I broke that glass does not mean that I am broken. So I think that, I definitely have learned a lot of things, and some things I'll keep to myself. But those are some things that I think that I can share about my experience. But I also want to stress that it is important, when someone is actively going through something, to just be with them, present, and just say, I'm so sorry. We always feel like we need to give these platitudes like, oh, but it's going to be okay. Oh, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. Right. But right now, someone's in pain. So it's important to focus on the right now, not on the one day you'll be fine, because one day is today, and they're not fine right now. So that's my little
Yeah, that's so true.
clearly, like I said, I have a lot to say about it.
That's so true. I specifically ask about it because during these days, many people I mean, all of the people around the world are facing with this corona thing. And I'm trying to focus on the positive things that it brought anyways. Of
Mm,
course, nobody wants it to happen again.
right.
But at least we can focus on the positive parts. For example, I'm a university professor. It's not my job for interviewing, but now it bring me this chance. This corona brought me this chance to
Yeah.
start such a thing that I was dreaming about for a long time. So you see, we can focus on these positive things too. That yeah, things happen which couldn't happen without corona.
Yeah, it's so true. I because there was such a shortage of PPE, personal protective equipment, and there was, here in America, there were all these doctors and nurses that didn't have masks, and I just said, I'm gonna go learn how to sew. And I went to I right before everything shut down here in LA, I went to the arts and crafts store, and I said, give me your most basic sewing machine, something that just not hard to work, just the most basic sewing machine you have. And for 2 days, I just studied the manual and I went on YouTube and I taught myself how to use it and I taught myself how to sew. And I'm like, wow, that's a skill that I've always wanted to have, that because of this horrible situation, and I started sewing masks and I sent hundreds of masks out to doctors and nurses around the country. And, it was a really cool experience to be able to go, wow, just look at what, we can rise to do when asked, and look at what you're doing and doing all these interviews and fulfilling your dream. Obviously, none of us would have wanted, obviously, sure, you could have figured out another way to learn how, to start doing interviews. I could have figured out another reason to start sewing, but, if it had to happen, it's wonderful when we're able to find some silver linings.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
Yeah.
let's go back through your filmography. And you had the experience in The Bold and the Beautiful. Yeah, this soap opera is my actually favorite soap opera of my parents. And since I was a kid, I was watching it automatically at our house. And you were
Oh
there.
my,
I was surprised when Ashley Jones was there and Ron was there.
oh
So
my
how was the
gosh.
experience that time?
Oh gosh, that was so long ago. But what was really funny about it was I really didn't know what to expect. And soap operas, I had never done. It was supposed to be, it was
2 episodes,
episodes,
yeah.
but it was just one scene in each episode. And so they shot both scenes literally one right after the other. And I'm used to doing, dramatic television where you meet, when I was a child actor, yes. When I'm used to reading the script, together, and then you block it out, and then they take their time for lighting, and you get to practice, and then you do it a bunch of times from different angles. And they were like, okay, they call you a loudspeaker. They call your character, whatever my character's name was, Dr. So-and-so, Erin Cummings, Dr. So-and-so, you're one on stage 2. So you go down to stage 2 and they're like, okay, you're going to sit in that chair. Okay. And we're not going to rehearse. So we're just going to shoot the rehearsal. So ready and action. And you're like, okay. And so then I said all my lines thinking, oh, well, we're just running through the lines, and then we're going to block it and then they'll do the lighting. And they said, okay, could you do that again? And I said, sure. And so we did it again. And they said, okay, thank you very much. You're finished. And I was like, what? No, I didn't know that we were, that was it. I said, but don't you have to light it? And they said, you're already lit. We put these lights up in 1962 and they've never changed position. And so my girlfriend watched the show. I showed it to her when it came out, and she said, I love you so much. And I'm so glad that I have seen you in other things, because if this was the only thing that I ever saw you act in, I would think that you were the worst actress on the planet. So I was not, Bold and the Beautiful is not exactly my, I would love to go back on the Bold and the Beautiful, though. I mean, it's got a huge following in Italy. So,
Yeah, it was also a tense scene because everyone were waiting for a transplant donor. Then and you were
yes.
very serious about it and by the phone.
I was like, hello? Yes. I want you to know we switched up the embryos. Yes, it's not your baby. Dun, dun, dun. Like, so bad. But we all have to have those stories, I guess.
And
right?
also you had an appearance in the Star Trek.
That was
Many
my
years
very
ago.
first television job as prostitute number 1. That
Yeah.
was actually really fun, because I walked into the car and I go, you looking for a date, honey? And he needed to have this other sex worker, because she had blood that was compatible with Klingon blood, a certain blood type. And he either didn't know my blood type, or my character had the wrong blood type. And he goes, maybe with your friend. And I looked at him and I go, you don't know what you're missing. I thought I was.
And who was the prostitute number 2?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it
I
was an
hope she's
interesting
having a wonderful
title.
career
Yeah.
somewhere. Julia Roberts, I don't know.
And you were also in Pan Am series.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. I loved doing Pan Am. You know, it was my first time working in New York, and I did 3 episodes. And I mean, it was similar to Cold Case. You know, everything was period. So, you know, the hair was all these beautiful, you know, sculptures, and, you know, the brooches and the necklaces and the earrings and the bracelets and the gloves. And I mean, it was really just a wonderful time. And I remember I got a great piece of advice from Christina Ricci when we did that. I was wearing this pink, kind of Jackie Onassis suit, Chanel wool suit, very similar to Jackie O's. And we were on that plane, and it was an actual fuselage. It was like an actual Delta, like 787 or something like that. And I was standing next to Christina Ricci, and I was sweating so much because it was so hot in there, and everything was itchy. And I was like, oh my God. And she goes, oh God, that's got to be awful. And I said, well, it's not terribly comfortable. And she goes, let me give you a secret. Every time I go into my fitting, I always tell them that I'm allergic to wool. So they never put me in wool. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm telling you, every job I've ever had since, I always say I'm allergic to wool, and I've never had to wear it.
That's a nice trick. Yeah.
So thank you, Christina Ricci, wherever you are. Thank you. And Margot Robbie was so, the place where I was staying, because they didn't put me up. I had to fly myself to New York and find my own housing. It was what they called the local hire at the time. And so a place that I was supposed to stay, my friend ended up, like, I couldn't stay there anymore. And I was crying in the makeup trailer when I found out. And Margot was so sweet. She and Christina Ricci were roommates. And she came over and she goes, you can come and stay with me and Christina as long as you want. And I was like, no, you guys are like the stars of the show. I'm the guest star. I'm not, that would be weird. I didn't want to impose. But I just thought, wow, that's so kind of her. And then I went to dinner with her and her family. And then we went to see a show called Sleep No More together. And I remember she was just so kind and compassionate and loving and caring. And from what I have heard from people who are, you know, close to her, in all of her success that she's had, she's still kind and caring and compassionate. And it's really wonderful to see someone like that have so much success, because not only was she so talented and so beautiful, but also just a good person. And it's nice when good things happen in the careers of good people. You know that they've worked for it, but they also are like, yeah, okay, you're not an asshole. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you succeeded. You know, you're an asshole. You need some therapy, but I'm not going to celebrate your wins just yet.
And how effective is that when you have such nice co-stars? How does
Like,
it
what do you mean?
affect
How
your work?
effective is it? Oh, does it affect the work? Yeah, it absolutely affects the work, because, you know, if there's tension that is happening between characters off stage, then that can come through without you even realizing it sometimes. I mean, I remember when I was in 7th grade, I was doing a play, and there was a group of us that were supposed to be sisters. And the director, after one of our rehearsals, said, what is going on? Is there some drama happening behind the scenes? Because, like, are you guys, and it turns out there was some real big, like, you know, 12-year-old girl drama. So it was probably like one girl wanted to be somebody else's best friend or whatever, something that was very important at the time. And our director said, I can see it on stage. I can feel the tension between you guys of whatever's going on off stage. I can feel it on stage. So we had to actually work it out off stage, because it was coming in and it was affecting our work. And it's very, very challenging not to have that happen. So like when Tom and I, like I said, my husband and I were very fortunate that we're both actors and we're married, so we can help each other with auditions. And there have been times where I will be frustrated about something, and I'll need to get something on tape, and he'll just be like, no, you gotta calm down, you gotta relax, you gotta go for a walk. And then similarly, I was putting him on tape today, and I told you that there was those helicopters flying around, and the helicopters were driving him crazy because he couldn't focus on what he was doing. And I said, okay, we'll just wait till the helicopters are over. And he goes, no, 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 I got to hurry up and send this. I got to send this to Steven. And I said, okay, well, if you're not going to send a good tape, what's the point of sending it? Like, we can wait 10 minutes and the tape can be 10 minutes late, but you can have a good audition, or we can just hurry up and do it now with you frustrated and distracted by this helicopter. So, yeah, it's always a nice feeling when you have kind co-stars, because that's not always the case.
Yeah. Yeah. So no matter how professional you are, these things affecting negatively if you are not
Of
good.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all go through that. It's like, you're driving down the street and you're having a lovely day, and all of a sudden somebody, cuts you off or starts cursing at you, or, is being rude for no reason. And you're like, whoa, I'm just trying to drive. And then you go into like the coffee shop, and the person is kind of slow punching your thing in, and then all of a sudden you find yourself barking at the person making the coffee, and they're like, what the hell, I didn't do anything wrong. And then the next person that comes up, they're like, can I take your order? And then they're annoyed with the next person. It creates this ripple effect. So I try, and if I am upset about something and I'm carrying it into the set, I tell people first off, I go, guys, I just listened to the news and I'm really upset right now. I'm in a bit of a bad mood. So I'm just warning y'all, it is nothing personal. I'm going to be a little quiet for the next 10 minutes. Just going to try to get myself into a better mood. But I wanted to let you guys know, and then that way people are like, okay, great. I can respect that. Let's give her some space, while we're in the makeup trailer. And then I can just sit there quietly. And then once I can meditate my way out of my negative headspace, then I can be like, okay, I'm feeling much better, and I would like to engage with people, because I'm not going to accidentally yell at someone that I don't mean to yell at.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you and Tom are supporting each other through audition. I noticed also you support your pets for audition.
Yes, I know. We are definitely, we are animal lovers. We have rescued 4 cats and a dog. And if it were up to me, we would have many more cats and many more dogs, and maybe a pig, maybe a chicken. I want some chickens.
Yeah.
Maybe a baby goat. I would love to just have all of the animals. But yeah, so I was shooting a show called Dynasty in Atlanta, Georgia. And the second episode that I did 2 episodes. The second one, there was a dog that was supposed to be in the episode. And so I asked the director, Jeff Bird, who I am still friends with, I asked him if he would consider my dog, who he had met, because I bring the dog on set. And he goes, sure. Yeah, just send me a picture of the dog. And if you have the dog a picture in any costumes or something, send that. And so that night I was in my hotel room by myself, with the dog, and I was bored. And so I just started, editing together this little video, and I sent it. And, she did not get the job. And because the writer wanted a French bulldog, which was her dog. And they hired this dog. And Jeff said the dog was so unprofessional. They had to shoot around the dog. He said, I made the biggest casting mistake of my career, not casting your dog. And so I was very happy to put Joey Bishop's reel on there. I hope that she gets a job offer. I think that she would be great.
Yeah, based on the video that you made, for sure. He will get, yeah.
She's a star.
Yeah.
I will be her agent.
Yeah. I noticed that also you produce the short movies. Are you planning to? Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. My friends were trying to, they were doing a short, and so their way of getting funding was, they said anybody who contributes will get a producer credit. So I give them a couple $100 and I got a producer credit, but I didn't do anything else. So
are you planning to have a bigger budget one later as a producer?
Exactly. Yes. I would
Uh,
love that.
so
I
you
mean,
want to do that?
you know what? I am trying not to. I have certain things that I would like to do, certain milestones that I'd like to reach, but um, right now, I feel like I've been such a planner my whole life, and I've had to try to have so much control over everything that I do that for a while I kind of just want to go where the wind takes me. I want to work hard. I want to, put one foot in front of the other. But the last 4 years, from getting married and getting diagnosed with cancer, and then now what we're all going through, and God knows what's going to happen in November with our election, I kind of just want to just not try to control the future so much and just let life let life bring to me whatever journey I'm supposed to go on.
Yeah. So you don't want to define the project yourself. If it happens that they offer you the.
There's several projects that I have, percolating that I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to do something like this. This would be really cool to do something like that. And so I definitely work on some things, but nothing that I would want to talk about at this point. Um, and I feel like when all the stars align and things happen, like I continue to make them happen, to make, to push forward to my dreams. But I'm at the same time, I'm trying not to force anything. It's a
But
nice feeling for
what it
someone to
has
spend
never
40
changed about you that you were always a hard worker. I could see it from, especially from 2003. I could see you never stopped playing. Each year you had something. It was not like you're resting, having vacation for several years. You're a hard
right.
worker.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been important to me to constantly keep, goal done next, keep whatever thing I'm able to achieve, either build on that or try to find another path, to make my life as diverse and as exciting as possible.
Yeah, that's what I really like about you. That
Thank
I
you.
can see you in several TV series, and this is wonderful. And you can take all the roles and you make it perfect. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
all of them, even the one in the Bold and Beautiful. You don't like it, but even I enjoyed that one.
You're very kind. Thank you.
And by the way, have you ever been in Cyprus before?
No, I haven't. I mean, tell me about it.
Yeah, that would be so lovely to have you here also for a movie festival or something like that, or maybe a project.
Is there a Cyprus Movie Festival?
We
A
are
Cyprus Film
trying to
Festival?
make it happen because it happened before.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to leave it to Cypriots because they just want to enjoy their time by the seasides.
Yeah,
So I'm just trying to push them. It's not my job, but I'm doing my part.
do it. Yeah, I think that would be incredible. And where's the nearest major airport? Like, what do I fly into with
Larnaca, for
Cyprus?
example, there are
What?
direct flights from Larnaca.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So if such things happens in Cyprus, that would be wonderful. Especially if we meet you in person here, that
Oh
would
my
be
gosh, I would be
so lovely.
thrilled. I would love to come to Cyprus. It sounds absolutely stunning. And from the pictures that I've seen, it is so beautiful. So you know what? Let's put that out there. Yes, if an opportunity to go to Cyprus were to come along, then I will make it happen. I
That
have
would
a
be so
passport, will
wonderful.
travel. Well, I mean, not right now, but
Yeah,
when
after
it's
this
safe for all of
corona.
us to travel again.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are passionately waiting for those times.
Thank you.
And let's do something fun. We have a challenge on our page named Crazy Eyebrow. We try to pull one eyebrow up, one down. It's a little hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know usually actors are very good with facial expression, but this is a challenge. I tried
Yeah,
on different actors,
exactly.
but this one is a challenge. Yeah, you
Making
need
all
more
these silly
practice with
faces.
that.
Oh,
So,
that's funny.
Erin, it was so lovely talking with you. I know it was a crazy day for you, as you mentioned, but thanks a lot for giving us your time. I cherish each moment of it.
Oh, you are so kind. Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate, you being flexible on the time because the first time that you sent me, I was like, that's 7 o'clock in the morning in Los Angeles. Nope, not gonna happen. So I appreciate you rescheduling the time so that I didn't have to do it at 7 a.m.
Even if
Um,
you would say it is 4 a.m. in Cyprus, I would do it anyway,
oh,
with
that's
pleasure.
very kind. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, this has been really lovely. And thanks for the wonderful trip down memory lane. And I hope to see you one day in Cyprus.
Yeah, I'm so much looking forward to it. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Erin. Hope to see you very soon. See
Yes.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.